AEW Unrestricted, the official podcast of All Elite Wrestling. I'm Will Washington. She is Aubrey Edwards. And don't forget, folks, that this podcast is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. Yeah, we got these cards here, and look, I've got the Unified Champion Kazuchika Okada. That's right. You can collect your favorite wrestlers in 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. Unwrap autograph memorabilia or premium tech inserts. Visit upperdeck.com to learn more. We love our sponsors at Upper Deck. I mean, look, I've mentioned before, I've got just a desk full of Upper Deck cards. I could pull.
You got to take a picture of that and send it to me, because you say that every week, and I'm just like, I mean, like, I believe you, because you've never steered me wrong.
No, when I show you, you're gonna be like, oh my god, it's,
please clean this up. Our sponsors would be very sad.
Yeah, exactly. But look, they're all in perfect stacks. I just have so many. Look, I can pull Willow Nightingale from anywhere, right? I can pull Adam Copeland. Yep. And of course,
AEW champion Hangman Adam Page.
Yep. Again, look, I can just pull Julia Hart. Look, I can pull these from anywhere. Like, look at that. Just anywhere I've got cards, I can just be like, boom, like Ninja Stars.
Like a gunslinger for trading cards.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, look, we have come off of quite a few major weeks in AEW. We've got Forbidden Door coming up here soon. We've got some big on sales coming up with Full Gear and World's End. And of course, we just had the big one in Texas a few weeks ago in All In Texas. I had a great time in Texas. It was basically like a family vacation for us. I brought the whole family with, and karaoke was a hoot. We've talked about that. But Aubrey, you had a time as well.
Yes. So one of the things that I thought was an apt story to tell today, since we do try to be unrestricted on here and give a peek behind the curtain, and also our referees do a lot of things that maybe people don't realize they do, and they may be relevant to today. But I had an interesting situation happen in the middle of the match with Mercedes and Tony, where my communication system completely died. And I only knew because everyone was chatting a lot. I was getting a lot of time cues, a lot of direction. I was hearing the truck. I was hearing the coaches. I was hearing Tony. And then all of a sudden it was quiet. I'm like, oh, my battery is definitely dead. And I'm running through my head at this moment that's like, oh yeah, the audio guys told us this morning that our batteries were not going to last through a 6-hour show, and we should definitely stop by and change our batteries before our last match. And I definitely didn't. So now I'm sitting there in this match trying to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do. And you start kind of thinking on your feet, whatnot. Luckily we have two audio systems. We have the one that allows us to hear, and then we have the one that allows us to talk. And there's luckily on two separate batteries. So I basically radio in and said, if you can hear me, I can't hear you because my battery's dead. And that's all I said. Mercedes later was like, I heard that and kind of panicked a little bit. I'm like, we're fine. But then I'm sitting there, and it's like, if you want to go back and watch the clip, which you should actually watch the clip, you can watch replays on all of the different places where you can see our pay-per-views. But Mercedes is doing the Three Amigos, and you can see me kind of, speaking of gunslinger, chuck something to the side of the ring, because Jay, one of our audio guys, had come by and was hanging out right next to Jamie, cameraman, hands me a battery. I shove it back in my back pocket, and we are locked and loaded, ready to go. And it was one of the most terrifying moments of my life, because I'm like, there are nearly 30,000 people here. We're broadcasting live. And I feel like I'm suddenly all very, very alone. But we did it, and it was great. And it was this incredible title match. Both these women absolutely killed it in the match. And it was awesome. And it was just one of those things where it makes me appreciate all of the people that we have at this family at AEW, all the people we have on our various different teams, whether it's production, in-ring, back of house, whoever it may be. We've got really, really awesome people here.
Yeah, no, I love that. And honestly, I love hearing referee stories. I feel like they make and add so much to the product that we've all consumed in AEW. And speaking of which, that brings me to our guest today here on AEW Unrestricted. Who do we got here today?
Today, we are joined by one of my favorite people, one of the OG referees at All Elite Wrestling. We're joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Rick Knox, tag team specialist. One of the, how many do we have now? Of the 5 bald referees of the 7. I was trying to keep count the other day, like, oh my God, I had to get so much fake hair just to counterbalance what you guys are doing to me. Jeez.
Yeah, thank God for that. Jeez.
Right? Oh my God. It was also funny because One of the things I do for the ref team is I manage our t-shirt inventory just to make sure we've got enough like AEW, ROH, all of our pay-per-view t-shirts. And I'm literally like texting the group chat and I'm like, oh, I have a podcast with Knox in like 10 minutes. Okay, cool. And that was like my reminder. So thanks for being here today, Knox. How are you?
Oh, pleasure is all mine. Thank you guys for having me.
So I want to start back at the beginning because I've always I've always seen you as sort of one of those like indie legends. Like when I was coming up on the indies, you could not watch anything from Southern California without seeing Rick Knox involved in it in some way. And I remember watching BTE after AEW had been announced, and you basically got invited by the Young Bucks to be a part of the company. Talk about that day. What was it like for you?
That was very surreal day. It was wild because the whole lead up to that evening was I was under the impression that they were going to offer a spot to Joey Ryan. At the
Really?
time, yeah, because at the time he was running bar wrestling. He was the big indie sensation at the time, and All Elite had been announced, and there was the buzz in the air. The Young Bucks were going to show up, and they were going to offer a contract. So, got him get a little choked up just thinking about it because it was just such a crazy moment because I was in the ring with Joey Ryan. I can't remember who he was supposed to wrestle, but then the Young Bucks came out and basically said, "We're here to offer a contract for AEW," and they were all looking at Joey Ryan, but then turned around and looked at me, and all the attention was suddenly on me. And when it suddenly hit, I felt like my knees just got all shaky. I was like, wait a minute, is this really what I think is happening here? It took me probably a good minute before it really sunk in. Wait a minute, these guys are offering me a freaking contract right now. This is actually happening. So everything you see in that moment is legit. It was a little emotional breakdown, and the fans really responded very well to it. And yeah, it was a cool moment. I'll never forget it. Thank God for the Young Bucks, man.
Well, let's talk about the aforementioned Young Bucks because you know, thinking about that moment and thinking about the fact that, as Aubrey said, tag team specialist Rick Knox, and you can't think tag teams without thinking the Young Bucks. You guys go way back. Talk about that history with Matt and Nick.
I've known them pretty much since they started doing legitimate pro work. I mean, I didn't really know them when they were doing their backyard stuff. It was once they kind of started hitting the territory here in SoCal and working with some of the legit promotions that I got to know them. And I remember thinking at the time, flash in the pan sort of guys, they're not going to stick around. They got the trash bag pants wrestlers, I remember thinking, Frankie Kazarian wannabes. These guys they're not gonna last. So yeah, it was a funny time because they had a pretty weird reputation back then, especially like, Matt was known for not wanting to train properly, like going to train under Super Dragon and basically saying, I don't want to do that. Watch this. And then doing all his flips and spots. And it was like, really, dude, first day of training, this is not, so they rubbed a lot of people the wrong way initially. But they were always nice to me, so I was always cool to them, and the way I always treat everything, be nice to people because you never know who's going to be in that opportunity or in that position to help you down the road, and it could have been very easy to dismiss them back then and be a jerk to them and shut them out of everything, but no, I didn't. I was very accommodating. They were accommodating to me. So they started booking me at their fed that they ran called High Risk Wrestling, HRW. So that was where I got to first meet Marty Jannetty and work with some other pretty cool names and stuff. But it was at PWG that just for some reason we just started getting heat with each other in the ring. I mean, it was all fun and games, but the fans just started picking up on it. And so one thing just kind of led to another, and, push came to shove and came to super kick and came to dive. And next thing you know, we're just doing spots almost every time. And, we tried not to overdo it. I remember that in PWG, we would go a long time without anything happening. And then, we'd give them a crazy spot where I would die or super kick on them or something. And then we'd come back and kind of tease it and not really lean into it for a few more months. But, yeah, for whatever reason it worked and people really like it. And the footage still seems to circulate every few months. Every few months, everyone backstage at AEW is like, I just saw the video of you, knocking the Young Bucks off the ladder. I saw the video of you doing the tope con hilo on the Young Bucks and super kicking at the Young Bucks. Yeah, just for whatever reason, every few months it makes the rounds. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I owe them a lot.
Well, I think we all do. I mean, we're all here and we're working for this company because
yeah, absolutely.
So.
No, genuinely, like it's funny that you told that Matt story, because that like, having gotten to know Matt, I'm like, that feels like a younger version of the much more mature Matt we know today.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, they were, and self-admittedly, they'll tell you that they were full of themselves back then and didn't want to listen to anyone. So, yeah, they had a very, very odd reputation in those early days. They were not looked upon very, very fondly by a lot of the SoCal people back then.
Well, I mean, they eventually grew out of it. They matured, and then, eventually just created a company that is,
and a big part of that is just the fact that they stuck with it. I mean, so many people in the wrestling industry just give up after a while. I mean, and that's one of the things that I can say, man, after 27 years or whatever, I never went away, except for when I was hurt and I had to step away for a couple months, due to an injury. But I never left and retired and then came back or this and that. I kind of just plugged away nonstop since 1997. And that's, I guess, why I'm still going. A lot of other people fell by the wayside,
It's about persistence. And I think that's the general thing that gets mentioned on this podcast a lot, is you never really know when the opportunities gonna come along. And kind of like you said, you just be nice to everyone, because you have no idea what's going to be the catalyst for a life-changing event, right? And it's I think we had a conversation, I think it was a year or two ago. You had said something along the lines of you had missed something like 4 PWG shows ever during the entire run of PWG. So what was it like being a part of this incredible independent wrestling promotion that was sort of driving the hot indie scene, at least in, the southern part of the United States?
Well, initially it was kind of just another show, didn't really have much expectations, but the fact that it was run by a bunch of the local wrestlers as opposed to some guy with money trying to promote a show, gave it a certain sort of appeal that I, was honored to be asked to be part of. So with those original, 6 guys who founded the company, the fact that I was the first referee that they asked, that meant a lot to me. So they showed me a lot of loyalty. So I always showed them a lot of loyalty. And over 20 years, I mean, we did make it to the 20-year anniversary show, thankfully. It was not but 3 or 4 shows I think that I missed, and a couple of those were due to injuries, and one of them I think was actually a double booking, which was kind of rare, but I had taken it before PWG was announced, so I did that show instead, but but it's been to know that the type of impact that company's had now, it still kind of blows me away. We're in London, and one of the things that people talk about is PWG. These people come up to me and say, "Oh, PWG, when is PWG coming back?" And there's always this expectation that the company's going to return, which, spoilers, I don't think it will. But
who's to say?
You never say never in wrestling. But I mean, just it's so fondly remembered by people all over the world. And the longevity of it that you had mentioned, I think, is another big part of it. A funny story, Nick Wayne, our Ring of Honor TV champ right now, I believe. Is that what he is?
Yeah, World Television Champion.
Okay.
There you
go. Basically still likes to talk to me like, "Hey, man, I grew up watching you on PWG DVDs."
Which is weird.
It just blows me away, to know that, as far back as he can remember watching wrestling, I've been there and I've been a part of it. And it's kind of humbling in several different ways. But it's kind of cool just to know the impact that PWG's had and how everyone just still talks about it and certain matches still stick out. And it's been quite a ride. I'm glad to be part of it.
Quite the ride.
Has been quite a ride, and we've got more of that ride to talk about with Rick Knox. Stay tuned right here on AEW Unrestricted. We'll be back right after this. AEW Unrestricted. It's Will Washington. It's Aubrey Edwards, and we're with our guest, referee Rick Knox. Rick, you were talking a little bit about actually, you know where I want to go? You had mentioned 1997, and
Correct.
I kind of want to take it all the way back there because that's quite some time. We're talking 28 years ago.
Yeah.
So what exactly sparked refereeing for Rick Knox?
Okay. Well, I'd always been a wrestling fan, obviously, and kind of just fell out of it for whatever reason and started getting back into it around 95, 96. It started getting popular again. I kind of started watching it a little bit more. And in the newspaper, had newspapers back in the day. There was a local newspaper in San Bernardino, California, and in it was an article about a pro wrestling school there in San Bernardino called the School of Hard Knocks on E Street. And I was kind of blown away by that. Like, that's almost walking distance from my house. I mean, a little bit farther, but went and checked it out and was like, man, do I want to become a wrestler? And, kind of found out about their shows that they ran, checked a few of their independent shows out. It was the Empire Wrestling Federation, EWF. They're still running today. And I remember seeing up front, up close, those guys getting slammed, and suddenly, was like, no, I think I realize I'm not going to be a wrestler. I don't think I can do that. But I can do what that guy's doing, which is refereeing. And still be part of the show, still have fun, and still be active, still be physical, but not take those bumps. Because, man, seeing that up close really was an eye-opener. So started hanging out at the School of Hard Knocks, started training there, started helping them with their shows as far as making flyers, making programs, taking promo pictures, stuff like that, just doing all the grunt stuff behind the scenes. And I started refereeing their practice matches after the classes. We were just, hey, 6-man tag, 8-man tag. Let's, Rick, get in there and referee. And after a while of doing that, enough of the guys told Bill Anderson and Jesse Hernandez, the guys running the school, that, hey, this guy's good enough. You should start booking him on shows. And that's kind of how it happened. I just started doing their shows at the Boys and Girls Club in San Bernardino there, and then moved on to some other venues, the San Bernardino Arena, stuff like that, and just kind of grew from there. And after starting with Bill and Jesse, after about 3 years with them, they split up and had a not so friendly or amicable split. It was kind of like a divorce with parents that fought over the children. So the students were kind of pulled in a couple of different directions. And I ended up going with Bill, who formed the International Wrestling Council out of Riverside, and he ran weekly shows for a couple of years there. I ended up did go back mending fences with Jesse and the Empire Wrestling Federation. I mean, we all realized it's a big enough world. Bygones were bygones. We're all good friends now, thank God that mess got behind everyone. But after that, I started going to Ultimate Pro Wrestling, UPW, which was based out of Orange County, California, ran by a guy named Rick Bassman, who was a manager who basically discovered Sting, Ultimate Warrior, and I'm sure you guys know who he is. But started working for UPW for a couple of years, and they were basically a feeder group, and not an official territory or developmental for WWE, but they basically were. They were getting money funneled to them to help groom certain guys, John Cena. And so, he was getting funding from WWF at the time. So we like to say, yes, we were a developmental company at the time, but technically we really weren't. But the stigma was there, not a stigma, but the notoriety of being a developmental company was there. But UPW was pretty cool. That was my first taste of really big shows with big names, WWF guys. And just from there, I think that would have been around 2003.
2000.
That was 2000. Yeah. And then
Right.
2003 is when kind of, I'd say, PWG started and the indie boom just went nuts. New Japan opened up a dojo in LA. Everyone started training there. They started running shows, turned into NWA Hollywood. It's been a wild ride in SoCal for sure. And there's not too many of those feds left. In fact, now I look at the SoCal wrestling landscape and I hardly know who anybody is. It's very, very humbling.
Well, it's because we hired everybody.
Good point. Yeah.
Well, I was even thinking about like when you said UPW, a bunch of names started jumping in because obviously like John Cena's the big story out of there. But then I think about like Samoa Joe, right? Like that
Oh
was
yeah,
Mhm.
Samoa Joe came through there. Frankie came through there. Chris Daniels did a good little run there. Yeah, we had a lot of guys came through UPW. It was Nathan Jones was another one. I don't know if you remember Big Nathan.
oh yeah,
He was
definitely remember
Sylvester
Nathan Jones.
Turkey. He was another. He was another one. The big Bruiser Brody looking dude. He was pretty wild. But yeah, UPW was always pretty good. And I'm still in touch with Rick Bassman. I still talk to him every now and then. So that's good to hear from him when I can. And Gallo,
I like
our
that.
security Gallo worked there.
Yes, Gallo was there too.
Yeah.
It was funny when you're talking about like going into class and it's like, yeah, we're just reffing like 6-mans and 8-mans. And I'm like, oh, well, like a normal day at work. So
Right.
you end up in a lot of like really chaotic trios, multi-man, like cage matches, all these kind of things,
Jeez.
including like some of the most memorable like tag matches of all times. So how did that sort of start? Was that just a general progression with the Young Bucks, or is that just like sort of become like your bread and butter? Like, I know that we all kind of have our personal preferences of what we like to do, but it's hard for me to think about tag teams and not think about Rick Knox.
It's funny that you say that because honestly, I'm not a big fan of reffing tag matches. I don't really enjoy it, but I think
that is so interesting.
Well, here's the deal. Excalibur would say it as a rib. Oh, a tag team specialist, Rick Knox, and it was 100% just a rib because he knew I didn't like him, and so now it's like, oh, he's the tag team specialist, So, you run with certain things, you just embrace it. What are you gonna do?
Just because you're good at it.
Like, yeah, I mean, well, some people would say. That's the funny thing about being a referee in pro wrestling. It's like you can hit everything you're supposed to hit, do all the things you're supposed to do, and it was great job in the back. Everyone loves what you did, but the people or the fans think, "Oh, he's horrible. He missed this. He missed that. He didn't see this. He didn't." I did my job perfectly,
Right. It's one of those, as long as the people who sign your checks are happy, ultimately,
Exactly.
you're doing a good job. And it just so happens that very successful referees all happen to have bad eyesight and are easily
distracted. Doesn't take a lot.
It's part of the job requirements. Like, it's just something that they look for. It's an inherent trait. Like, people got to stop being mad about it.
Yeah, I remember like getting buried online one time by like some indie referees. Like, I would be so much better, and I wouldn't fall for that. And it's like, are you idiot? I mean, you're basically saying you're gonna go into business for yourself and officiate the match like a shoot. I mean, that's what everybody wants, right? I mean, good Lord. Sometimes
because that's good TV,
right? Yeah, of course, we all want to see that, right? Yeah. I mean, if we really went down that mode, we would literally be disqualifying everyone within the first couple of seconds of every match. I mean, first punch, oh, you're disqualified. Not even a warning, just ring the bell, just disqualified.
Yeah. I will say that probably ended up being one of my favorite BTE bits from the early AEW stuff, specifically when you had the bit with the Elite where you basically do real life referee tropes where like you get nudged and all of a sudden you're just like knocked out in a restaurant. So how much fun was that stuff to shoot?
That stuff was really fun. I really miss it too. I keep holding out that, eventually here BTE is going to come back, because I mean, that was a lot of fun. It really was. And for me, it was perfect because I didn't have a lot to do on it, but when I did, it was just enough to where I had fun and, not a lot of responsibility, but still got to share in the limelight of it. It was a good time.
A side question, something just hit me because somebody asked this online and finally I have two referees in front of me that can finally give me the answer to this. Because there was this video compilation put online of times where, of course, a wrestler was put into some form of a choke, something to that effect. And we saw moments where the referee would pick up the hand and count to 3, or pick up the hand and simply call for the bell. So my question is, officially by the rules, what is the discretion on that?
I don't know if there's an official rule either way. I mean, basically it's, what do you want? That's how we always kind of go into it. I think the 3 is played out. So we don't, with the advent of MMA being so prevalent in society today and a lot of that stuff, we borrow a lot more from that now than we used to. So the 3 count really is, can you imagine if a guy's losing consciousness and not getting blood to his brain and we're sitting there doing the, so, I mean, it doesn't really play out well in that sense of reality anymore. So now it's like, hey, if the guy's choked out, he's out, ring the bell, he's out, done.
Sure.
And now people are a little more in line to that, I think. And I think they kind of expect that, and it can get a good pop if it's done right. The 3 count really only works if the guy's going to power out of it and, Hulk out of it. And
though to its credit, World's End 2023, Max and Samoa Joe, I will say, like, Bryce is the complete sell on dropping the 3rd one and then realizing, wait.
Now, and I'm 100% sure, without being sure, that Bryce and them knew that. They went in with that, hey, let's do 3 if there's a submission, So they were definitely, all in tune together. But, it's all up, again, it's up to the boss. What does the boss want?
I think to kind of echo what Knox is saying is to peek behind the curtain, what best services the story in any given moment. Like, that's ultimately what our role is we're not the ones that I tell Uber drivers, because I always ask, like, what do you do for a living? It's like, I'm an actress playing the part of a referee. Like, we're all performers in a way, and we're all working to tell the story. It just so happens that the wrestlers are the cooks and we're the waiters who are serving it on a silver platter to the audience. Like, we're kind of there to help it all make sense. Absolutely. So there is no right. There is no right or wrong answer. I think the answer kind of changes over time based on the advent of the internet and how other sports have kind of moved into wrestling. Absolutely. But I mean, it's all a team effort. It's figuring out what's going to be best at any given moment in time.
Yeah, just like you said, we're supporting players for this show, and the marquee is pro wrestling. It's not pro refereeing. So we are there to do what they want. That's why we always, we'll always defer to the wrestlers. What do you want in that situation? Do you want us to go straight, or do you want us to play it wonky? What do you want to do? It's their game, and we're here to help them. That's, why treat it like a shoot, the integrity of the sport, bullshit. That's just doesn't work. It doesn't work for live TV. I'm sorry. I mean,
anytime someone starts talking about the integrity of the sport, I send them the clip of Sting doing the Orange Cassidy kicks to Orange Cassidy.
Right? Yeah, I mean, that's one of the most frustrating, criticisms I hear, the integrity of the sport. Jesus Christ. But,
all of this is to say that refereeing is a very, people have a lot of opinions. It's a very armchair quarterback-esque position. But from that, I think that's one of the things that I like most about your Instagram is, instead of it being like things about wrestling, it's just, look at all the cool places I'm visiting, which is what I really wish social media still was.
I tried to stay in that road. Yeah.
Right. I figured, is that sort of just let's focus on the positive aspect of it. Like, we're flying around the country yelling at half naked people every week. Look at all these cool places we're going.
A lot of it is that it's like, I want people to see how much I'm actually enjoying this too, because I mean, just like you said, this is a dream job. We're flying around the country, seeing cities and play fighting with our friends. I mean, this is, what else can you ask for? I mean, we're living a dream. And if by showing some people some of the neat places I get to see, can share a little bit of that, then I'm going to do it, and some of the, sometimes I'll put up some wrestling stuff too, maybe some behind the scenes picture. I'm very careful about what I post though, but
as we all are,
and people might get a little peek and see some stuff behind the scenes here and there, but it's more just a reward for the fans who stick with me and keep hanging in there and keep supporting me. Can't believe they do.
Hell yeah. Right? It's always fun to see who supports us and who's stuck around for the ride, the very, very long ride that you've been on so far. And we've got just a little bit more to talk about here in our conversation with Rick Knox here on AEW Unrestricted. Stay tuned for after the break. AEW Unrestricted, Aubrey and Will, and we are talking to Rick Knox about reffing, about dream matches, about the Young Bucks, about all kinds of different stuff. He's seen it all, been from, the Reseda in California in venues that didn't have air conditioning all the way to Wembley Stadium in front of 80,000 plus people. So quite a wild ride. I got asked this question recently, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on it. Because one of my favorite matches of all time, and I think this is a lot of people's favorite matches, is the Young Bucks versus Kenny Omega and Hangman. It was a very pivotal moment. It was right before the pandemic, but it's also a huge moment in all four of those guys' lives. Did you know in that moment that that match was going to be as special as it is, especially having been through so many matches with all four of those guys?
I didn't really think it was going to be as special as it ended up being. I mean, I knew it was going to be a banger, of course. You know, we just knew, oh, this is going to be one for the ages. It was great. But I remember, like, literally the emotional roller coaster of that entire match and the lead up to that was, I remember afterwards feeling like I'd been in a car wreck, even though like it was that draining and it was that overwhelming, and it was, you know, you just wanted to collapse in everyone's arms and hold each other afterwards. It was that intense. But before going into it, no, I just thought it'd be another match, another cool match. And then afterwards, it's like, it's up there in the top 3 or 4, you know? Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, that's one of those. I think with a lot of what we do, there's a lot of those times where a match on paper, like, you know, it has a potential to be good, but you don't necessarily know until it's over that it's going to end up in the annals of AEW history.
Part of the magic.
Yeah, and
Right.
that's a big piece of, you know, we always say that nothing's happened till it's happened.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, you know, we've sat around having conversations about, you know, oh, this is going to get this reaction, and it doesn't get the reaction you thought it was going to get at all, but it turns out it got maybe a completely different reaction that turned into something completely different and sent, you know, wrestling on a completely different trajectory. And that's like the beauty of what we do. And so, yeah, I can see how that's one of those matches that I think you can anticipate was going to be good, but
Sure.
but not knowing it was going to be something great.
Didn't realize it was going to be a bar setter like that. Yeah.
Yeah. But then that begs the question of, have you had those moments, though, where you do see something now, today, and recognize, okay, I know I'm about to be a part of something special?
The one that immediately pops into mind is Sting's retirement match.
Sure.
Sting and Darby versus the Bucks in North Carolina. I think it was North Carolina, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Greensboro,
remember,
March 3rd,
Yeah,
2024.
right. Yeah, I remember going into that one, it was going to be intense. It was going to be crazy. I knew the spots were going to be insane. But one of the things that stood out to me was getting to hang out with Sting all day. You know, most of the time, even when I worked his matches, I didn't really get to hang out with him. I would just, you know, talk what I needed to know, and that would be about it. And, you know, hi and goodbye. But that day, we all kind of hung out together, all of us, Flair too, and the Bucks and Darby, and we all like spent the afternoon together, and I don't know, it was something that I'll never forget. Just, it was kind of like a certain bonding moment. And then the match itself, of course, you know, Darby going through the glass, all that other
Oh my God.
stuff. It lived up to everything as far as the craziness. You know, and everyone was okay. Everyone survived it. So, you know, especially in Darby matches, that's a huge thing. Is everybody okay? Yes. All right. Then it's a success.
Is Darby alive? Cool.
Right.
Okay.
Is Darby breathing? Can he walk? All right. Even better. So, yeah, that one always stands out to me as something I knew would be great. It was great. And that was one of my all-time favorite matches, and an honor to have been a part of. That's something I always still get to tell people. Hey, I got to referee Sting's retirement match. You know, I just met some guy in Chicago who worked at the hot dog place I went in for lunch, and he's like, "Oh, I'm 55 years old. My favorite wrestler, Sting." I was like, "Got to referee his retirement match." His son totally popped. It was awesome. Yeah.
Hey, no one will ever take that away from you. That's
right.
Right?
I hope not. Yeah. Don't come back,
God.
Sting. I think
Just
I'm
come
safe.
back to hang out, but you don't need to
Right.
wrestle.
Yes, come back and hang out. Yes, hang out in catering. That was awesome when he was there in Texas. So.
Oh my God.
Oh.
That was one of my favorite parts, right? Just running into Sting and being able to like catch up with him. And it's like, how is
that
it? He goes,
crazy
"It's great."
beard was amazing.
Oh, dude, the beard is
beard-
wild, or like the
beard was
white
awesome.
hair. Oh,
Yeah,
dude.
he looked great.
Now, honestly, like, there's a little piece of me as a comic book fan that's like, Old Man Sting would be like a great run, wouldn't it? Like, just seeing the hair and the beard, but it's like, one more time. But
my worry is
Jericho.
like,
Be the wizard.
Oh,
do the wizard,
good.
the old wizard.
Do the
But I
wizard.
think, I don't think he'd go for the white beard. Make me look too old.
yeah.
I think the problem with Sting is like he's such a good guy, and he would be like a phenomenal manager, right? But the moment you get him in the same room with Darby, and then all of a sudden, like
he's gonna want
crazy decisions start being made, he's gonna start jumping off of things again, and like we just can't have that.
That's funny you say that because, like, all that the criticism online during Sting's whole run is Tony's trying to kill Sting. Why is he doing this to Sting? All those things were his idea. Every single one of the spots he wanted to take, all those spots were his idea. It's insane. Guy is insane.
Oh my god,
love him to death.
What a great guy.
Well, I want to kind of talk about the fact that, again, being here with two members of the referee team, it feels like you guys have such kind of a good family camaraderie. Aubrey mentions the group chat quite a bit. We had Brandon on the show not too long ago. And again, you guys you feel like a family, and kind of talk a little bit about the other members of the team and how that's been being a part of something that's still like, it's been 6 years, but it's still kind of a relatively new thing, but you guys have kind of made it your own and made something out of the referee team.
Yeah, I mean, it is very much a family. I think I've never had the support and camaraderie that this little group has. I mean, I've worked a lot of jobs. I've worked on a lot of teams, a lot of different things, and this is the only time where I feel like excuse my language, I'd fucking die for these people. I'll take a bullet for anyone. And it's like, it comes along once in a lifetime where you get a team that you really care for and you really love. And I hope that we all stay together for as long as we can, because and that, I mean, I can sit here and put over the praises of Paul and Bryce and Aubrey as well, but it's the entire group of us. We all, and even when Stefan came in and Brandon came in, it's like these guys were kind of new, but they like fit right in and they fit the mold perfectly. So it's like we didn't have to do anything to them. You know what I mean? We didn't have to like
we didn't have to haze them.
Yeah, we didn't have to like unlearn them and make them learn a new way of doing anything, because part of what makes our team strong is that we've all got such diverse backgrounds. We all bring something a little unique to the team, and that was one of the things I think people would put over at the beginning of AEW about the referee team, was like each one of them brings something different to their matches, and I always thought that was kind of cool. We weren't just the behind the scenes faceless players. We did have a unique feel to each one of our matches, and yeah, I don't know. I love the team. And I hope we stay together forever.
Oh, I love this group so much. It's my absolute favorite. I remember when we were when Brandon like had his tryout match, and I'm standing there watching the TV next to Paul, and I'm like, he'd be good. Yeah, he can learn, but like, is he going to mess up our group dynamic? Because like that was the thing that was most important to me at that moment of like,
it's a huge deal. Yeah.
Right. Because we got the 4 OGs, and then we had Posey, and then we had Stefan, and I'm like, I don't know, man, 7 could get tricky. And then turns out he's just like the exact same as the rest of us, and probably I love him more than the other 6.
And you can't say that about everyone who's come through and had a tryout either. So, I mean, there's reasons that, some people stick around, and there's reasons that some people don't. So
it's more than just what you bring to the table. It's how you make the whole team feel like a family.
Exactly. 1,000%.
Right.
And it's so cool to get to like actually experience you guys together. Cause like I hope that's something that fans appreciate, because, for the most part, they really only get to see you guys individually. And it's kind of rare that we get the acknowledgement that no, it's the referee team. And
like when we were in All In Texas, and we were out by the ring, and the VIP group was coming around to take their pictures, and they got to see something that's kind of unusual, and that was all of us together clowning around. I mean, that's a very rare sight, it's for all of us zebras to be together and acting silly like that, but yeah, that was cool.
More specifically, like I had basically demanded we all take a group photo together, because it's very rare that we all get to be on the same show together. But like Bryce was helping with the VIP, and I'm like, if we leave, we're never going to take this photo. So we literally just stood around the ring, like joking around, and talking with fans and all this sort of stuff. And then as soon as Bryce ran over, we like took the photo and then left. And we did our little as everyone was about to part, I'm like, hey, can we do the thing? And we like got together. We did the little cry moment. We did the Woe Bundy. It's the greatest group. I love these guys. I think Knox said it best. Like I would die for these guys. They're my favorite.
Yeah. Well, talking about those die moments and times where you guys got to work together. One of the matches I really love talking with referees about specifically on this show is Anarchy in the Arena, because it's just one of those things that is just that. And it's one of those scenarios where kind of everybody gets to play their own part and be a part of something a little bit different. What is that like, having to put all that together with each other?
I mean, thankfully we just kind of show up and do what they tell us. But I mean, man, there is a lot of freaking planning that goes into those things, and it's quite the undertaking. So just the walkthrough of it and the planning can sometimes take the entire night before, the day before, and that itself is very draining. But yeah, it's a major undertaking. I mean, those are huge matches with a lot of moving parts, and so they require probably more than people realize, I think, as far as what's going on behind the scenes. Yeah, they're nuts.
I think one of my favorite things about the last two Anarchy in the Arena is because the Bucks were involved. I was like, oh, it's okay. Knox will be at the one through. It'll be fine. We'll figure it out. He'll just tell us what's going on the next day. It's awesome. Which is kind of actually how it worked out. It's like, you come in like, oh yeah, this is doing this is doing this. And then you're going to do this spot, but okay, cool, great, whatever. And it's like,
we'll go this way. You guys go up
You're
there.
You're going to go to the concourse. This forklift spot's going over here. Like, it'll be cool, whatever. And it's like, who knows what's actually happening, but hope nobody dies. That's really what we're looking for.
It is kind of funny how it's almost becoming old hat now. Now that we've done half a dozen of these sort of things, it's like, we're getting a little more used to them now. We kind of know what to expect and what we're in for, and it's not as eye-openingly overwhelming like it was the first few years. But it does depend a lot, like Aubrey said, who's in it. I noticed, if Jericho and his boys are involved, it tended to be a lot more of smoke and mirrors, a lot of craziness as far as props and stunts and stuff like that. But those things are always a highlight. They're always a highlight. That's for sure. I love watching the finished product and knowing what we had to do to get there. It's always that'd be a pretty cool thing. We should do it behind the scenes on an entire Anarchy in the Arena, and then show it, and then show the match, and that'd be
cool. I think that would be, like, you talk about like peeks behind the curtain. That would probably be one that I think everybody would want to see.
That'd be good.
Last thing I wanted to ask about, and this is me pulling this from memory, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I remember for the longest time, AEW kind of was like very strictly against referee bumps in the beginning.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, did you take the first one?
I honestly don't know if I took the first one or not, but I know that in general, they are kind of frowned upon at AEW, which, I mean, I'm fine with that. I don't need to be taking bumps.
I don't want to get bumped.
So, I
feel like the first one, and maybe somebody can correct me on that.
Oh, I'm going to correct you. The first one was Paul Turner when Jon Moxley came through at the very first Double or Nothing, and he dropped everybody with DDTs.
Okay. That does count. I was thinking mid-match, but that one counts. Because I was
probably got kicked in the face at one point.
The one I was thinking of was the super kick. But I guess that counts.
A table early on too. Nyla Rose put me through a table. That was in the first couple months.
That was pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic for sure. It's about all I can remember of that, but
yeah. It's Rick Knox is one of our most resilient referees. He's been around here for a long time. He'll probably be around for much longer after all of us are gone.
Not going to remember anything.
Not going to remember anything. Going to always get back up. Maybe hobble away a little slower, but always still there. Just so dependable, so wonderful. Such someone who I am so proud to call my coworker, and even more proud to call my friend. Thank you for being here today, Rick Knox. This is fucking awesome.
Thank you for having me. It means a lot. It really does. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
And if you want to see all of his cool photos of all the places that he visited, you can follow him on Instagram at MadMadRef. As a reminder, AEW Unrestricted is sponsored in part by Upper Deck. You can collect your favorite wrestlers in the 2025 Upper Deck AEW and start your trading card collection today. You can
referees.
autograph. Yes, and referees. See, we got a couple of them here. We got me.
Woo-hoo!
We got Stefan. Hell yeah, man.
I have a Knox card here somewhere, I wanted to dig it out, but I have a giant pile of cards here.
I was frantically looking. I was trying to find everybody.
Yeah, I was trying to find my Knox card because I do have one. I actually have one. I'm going to bring it to you next time I see you.
Hell yeah. You can visit upperdeck.com to learn more about it. You can also listen to and follow this podcast, AEW Unrestricted, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Check out the video episodes on YouTube at AEW Unrestricted. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. And if you're not an AEW insider, you can get early access to ticket pre-sales, special merchandise offers, and more straight to your inbox. You can sign up today, AEWTIX.com. And don't forget, of course, where you can see 2 of these referees on Dynamite TBS Wednesday nights, 8 p.m., and streaming on Max. Occasionally, you can see both of us on Collision, live every Saturday on TNT, also streaming on Max. You can also see us on ROH, which streams every Thursday on Honor Club. I'm Aubrey Edwards with Will Washington. Thank you, Rick Knox, for being here. And thank you all so much for listening to AEW Unrestricted. Peace out, everybody.